Hello everyone, my name is Pacha and welcome back to another episode of Raven Creek here in Planet Zoo, of course, where else? And yeah, we are finally back after we are 1 week hiatus, so to say, where we didn't have an episode because I was busy with my exams for university. And for everyone wondering, yes, everything went well, everything is finished now. I just have to wait for what my professors, my teachers say, basically what grade I get once they view all my stuff that I sent them. So all my papers that I wrote for my exams, and once I get them back, I know if I passed or not. But hey, knocking on wood, hopefully I passed. But yeah, we are not here to talk about my exams. We are here to talk about Planet Zoo. And as I said, we are back in Raven Creek, and we continue our little river area that we finished off. Not finished off, but we last time we built for the Wiesent next to the beavers, and before that, of course, had the beavers, and before that we had the boars that you can see here on the top screen in the background kinda. And now we are continuing that area with one of the other animals from the Eurasia pack, which is the Wolverine. Yes, the animal that everyone was, I think, really hyped about, that we finally got it in Planet Zoo, one of the largest mastodons on this planet. And we talk a little bit more about the Wolverine and its name and everything related to that later. But yeah, let's say what the idea behind this habitat is. So what we are building right now here, as you can see by the timestamps, is viewing area number 1. And this viewing area number 1 will be in the style of this log hut, this very typical American forest log hut, just from cut trees stick together. And it will serve as a viewing area for the Wolverine habitat, of course, mainly, but also give us another viewing opportunity into the wild boar habitat in the style of which we later see, these windows, these normal house windows, which then look out into the habitats. And I wanted to make this log hut very early when I was planning this whole area, basically, and I wanted to include it for the boars and the wolverines because I think it was Columbus Zoo, quote me if I'm wrong or correct me if I'm wrong, who have wolverines, and their wolverine habitat is basically connected, or you can view their wolverine habitats, that's the right word, from a log hut basically, and then through the window you look into the wolverine habitat. And the habitat or the zoo I got the wild boar habitat from also had a similar mechanic where you would, if you would finish off the wild boar habitat, you would go into kind of not a log hut but a normal hut or normal house basically, and where you can also look through a window into the wild boar habitat again, but which also would be connected to their, I think, Amur leopard habitat. I don't have my notes at the moment on me where this zoo was, so if you want to know where the inspiration for the boar habitat comes from, please watch that episode because I explained it there in great detail. But yeah, so basically these two ideas combined, the log hut from Columbus Zoo with the wolverines and the normal house from the wild boars, combined into this habitat or into this viewing area where we have both ideas basically in one. I went with the log hut because I think it would fit more my idea of the zoo, of this forest zoo. And while you're wondering, you can sometimes see it in the background. This habitat looks gigantic. I at least think it looks gigantic for 2 wolverines. But I actually read I read the care manual for mastodons, which also includes the wolverine. And they always speak about having a large enclosure, having a lot of space for these animals, especially for wolverines, because they really, really travel a lot. They travel for hundreds of thousands of kilometers or miles Every time they have gigantic habitats, so they need a lot of space. And you will later see, you also saw, I think, in the intro cinematic, that the habitat, once all the foliage and the rocks are in, it doesn't look that gigantic, but still, when I was planning this habitat, I was like, isn't that a bit too big? Can I make this smaller? But yeah, since I have this viewing area and then I have another viewing area, because I really wanted to give the guests a good look at the Wolverines, yeah, the size was kinda needed for this habitat, but as I said, in the end it doesn't look that gigantic. It looks quite good. I still wish the Wolverine, I mean, it is what it is. They are that big in real life too, but I still wish that would be bigger, or I really have to make the habitat smaller or more intricate design, more narrow in certain parts to give the illusion of that it would be smaller. But anyway, it was, as I said, you will see it later in the showcase, you saw it in the intro. It should look totally fine now for 2 Wolverines, but usually you don't have both Wolverines in there at the same time. We will talk about this a little bit later. You usually keep them separate because they are a very solitary species, and you only bring them together basically when it's breeding season, if you want to breed them. But yeah, let's talk a bit about the Wolverine, or as it's also, as its Latin name says, Gulu, I think. Yeah, it's Gulo, which of course comes from the Latin word for glutton or gluttony, so meaning eating a lot, gulping down huge amounts of food, of just being not resourceful, stuff like that. And this also reflects kind of in different languages. A lot of languages where the Wolverine is native have a similar word, which just refers to them having an insatiable hunger. And I've looked a little bit up where this came from, because I was also interested. And it could be that it is a mistranslation or a translation, basically. I should say translation is the best word for it, of a word for it in, I think, in the Norwegian language. And I will totally butcher this now, but I tried. In Norwegian, this animal is called fjellfrost, which kind of means mountain cat, which makes sense. If you look at it, it looks like a big cat or a small bear, which also another name of it comes from, which is skunk bear, stinky bear. But yeah, this name for it, fjellfrost, is kind of, in Germany we call this animal Vielfraß. And if you now have these two words together, Fjellfrost or Fjellfrost and Vielfraß, you can see where the confusion may stem from. So that we Germans basically took this Norwegian word Fjellfrost and made Vielfraß out of it. And Vielfraß basically means devours much, so eats a lot. We have very on the nose name for some of our animals, so we Germans call them devour of much food, or eating a lot. And yes, other cultures have that as well, where their names mean something like gluttony, something like much eater, something like devourer. And apart from as I said, English language, which is a Wolverine, which apparently comes from an early English form meaning Wolverine, which something means like little wolf. So it's very interesting to see where names for animals come from. And as I can say, little wolf also makes sense. If you see this animal running around hunting something, you could also think it's a little wolf. So there are these two main directions. Either it's named after a wolf or a cat, or it's named after we have an insatiable hunger. And while these animals, of course, are not eating all the time, I mean, no wild animal eats all the time. Otherwise, the ecological footprint of it would be catastrophical. But where this maybe stems from, that they are called devours much, or a gluttonous animal. And by the way, we are building now the second viewing area over here with a lot of glass windows. But where this maybe comes from is that these animals track their prey down for insanely long distances. If they in search of food, and if they have tracked down food, they track them down for kilometers and thousands of miles through the snow, through the wilderness. And when they get to their prey, when they hunt down their prey, or when they find a carcass, something like that, then they gulp down as much meat as they can in the shortest amount of time, to get satiated, basically. But it is not because they're very gluttonous, or they love to eat or something. That's because there are other animals in the area that could fight them for that meal, like wolves, like bears, maybe big cats, not big cats, but like cats, or other scavengers in the area that could fight them for the meal. So they have to eat as much in the shortest time, as much as fast as possible, to basically not waste any food and to not lose that food. And I can see if when people discovered this animal, when they observed it in the wild, and when they saw how these animals, these rather tiny animals compared to like wolves or bears, eat so large amounts of meat in so short time, that then the idea of this being a very gluttonous animal could come to exist. It makes sense if you see it like that. If you're just someone who doesn't knows a lot about ecology, about biology, about the natural food chain, stuff like that, and you just see this animal gulping down tons of meat in a short time, you could think it is a very gluttonous animal that just loves to eat, and that just wants to eat all the time. And then it makes sense that you come up with a name that reflects that. So very interesting to think about that, and very interesting to learn about that, and to basically know why we call this and what we call it. And it's also interesting that English language doesn't reflect these not habit, because it's not really a habit, but this idea of it just eating a lot, and it just reflects more of its how it looks, basically. But that about the Wolverine, about the naming of the Wolverine, about its a little bit of a behavior. And as I said, I looked a lot looked into the care manual, and you saw me earlier in the video, or in this speedbuild, you saw me placing down water source up to the left or to the right now on the screen. And you may be wondering, but Wolverines are not really swimming animals. They're not like raccoons or fish otters or something like that. But the care manual stated that regardless of the species of mustard, you should always have a water source in the enclosure, because these animals like to bathe, these animals like to swim sometimes. So if you are designing a Wolverine enclosure, maybe keep this in mind, that you would have something like a little stream there, or a little water basin. So because apparently they need fresh water, not from a tap or something like that, or from water bowl, but from a really water source in the enclosure to be happy about. But we are now switching over from all these viewing areas to the backstage area, and you can already see by the length of this video that this is a little bit of a longer video this time around. I thought, hey, if I don't give you a video last week, I make it up and making a longer video. But no, there was a lot to do with this exhibit, because backstage area, 2 viewing areas, and all the terrain and foliage takes up a lot of time, and so that's why it's a little bit of a longer video. But if you are not interested in hearing me talking about the etymology of the name Wolverine or Vielfraß or anything like that, there of course are, as always, timestamps in the video itself, so you can switch to certain parts that interest you. And talking about if you don't want to watch everything, at this point I have to say, I think a big thank you to all of you who watched my last video about the bison, about the Wiesent, because I had a lot of views over there. I had a longer runtime than usual on this video, so thank you very much for spending your daily time to listen to a weird German person who builds zoos, and who talks about weird animal facts in his videos from time to time. So thank you very much for watching the video. it's really appreciated. It makes me really happy to see that people are interested in what I do, and that they are interested in what I have to say about these animals or my zoo, so to say. And yeah, as always, you will also see later in the showcase that well, you will see it in this video and then you will see it in the showcase, but you will see in this video that I didn't decorated the backstage area, or I didn't include the decoration of the backstage area in the speed build. And then you will later see in the showcase that there is decoration. So certain parts of this whole habitat, viewing area, backstage complex, I didn't include it in the speed build because it was nothing new, so to say. Just my usual decorations and details, and also I didn't want to make this video any more longer. It is already quite long. It is almost at the point where I say I would rather make 2 episodes of it, but then it's also not long enough for that. But it's at a point where I'm not that comfortable because I don't want to give you a half an hour video usually. I know that not everyone has all the time in the world to watch a video about Planet Zoo or the whole day or for half an hour, so to say. And so I don't want to make these videos too long. If you are interested, I mean, you can say that if you're interested to get a video, not a speed build video, but an actual me building in real time video. So where all the footage that is not sped up, but in the real time, which of course will then be probably 3 hours long, and I will talk for 3 hours, obviously, in this video. Just maybe in the beginning or in between at some point at certain parts to explain maybe stuff. But yeah, if you're interested, I mean, I know there are some people that are interested in these videos and these real-time videos, so to say, where you just get the raw footage of me building a habitat from the beginning to the end, all the 3 to 4 hours it usually takes me to build these habitats. If you're interested in that, so that's one I wanted to say, let me know in the comments. It's way less work for me if I just upload the raw footage, maybe with of course with some music in the background like always, and maybe some commentary, but of course not for 3 full hours or 4 full hours. But yeah, if you just want to have something to maybe run in the background where you can just see someone building a habitat with some nice music, let me know. I know some people are interested in that. I saw under other creators' videos some requests for that, so then maybe you can also, for example, build along without having the speed build, so you see how I build everything step by step in real time. So I can see where the appeal for that is. So just let me know, as I wanted to say, if you're interested in that, and then I can see if this would be maybe something I would consider doing in the future. But yeah, we talked about it in earlier in this video, and I said we'll talk about it later again. Wolverines are solitary animals, and you usually don't keep 2 of them or both of them if there's a breeding pair in the same enclosure all the time, only of course for breeding purposes. So that means we need a secondary enclosure, so to say, for the Wolverine. And since I don't want to include a full secondary enclosure, because then I thought it maybe will be too big for just a Wolverine, I thought about having this backstage outdoor enclosure, which is a common thing in zoos, that they have like a backstage outdoor enclosure that is not accessible or viewable for the guests, just so that they can give their animals some outside space without having them in the showcase enclosure, as it's usually called, the showcase exhibit. This backstage exhibit is basically just there to give them some fresh air, some sun, without having them outside, or as in this case, to separate them and still give the male or female, whatever you want to have on show, whatever you want to have backstage, some outside time. So it is connected to the backstage, to the indoor areas, and you can just bring them there, have them outside for a couple hours of the day, and then get them back in. But yeah, this is what the idea behind that is, and I will also have decorated that in the real-time area. In real-time, you will see in the real-time showcase how I decorated this backstage area. I wanted to say. But yeah, We are now connecting basically the terrain to the viewing areas, because I wanted to have the viewing areas, or the area where the Wolverine can run, on level with the viewing area. So it looks like the viewing areas are a little bit sunken into the terrain, which I saw in a couple of zoos, and I really liked that also in some Wolverine enclosures, so that you can get eye to eye with this animal and don't look down on it. And yeah, we're also building this rock wall over here, which I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, with these stacked rocks, so to say, very loosely stacked rocks, to create some elevation, create some different levels for the Wolverine. Of course, they're excellent climbers, so we will have trees in here, we will have climbing opportunities in here, but we will usually work with natural climbing opportunities, so trees. And you will later see in the video, because I don't know if I will talk that long, because my voice gets a little bit dry already, my throat gets a little bit dry. But yeah, you will see that I will measure the distance of these trees towards the towards the exhibit boundaries, so to say, with plaster walls. And this is because the care manual said that all natural climbable trees in a Wolverine enclosure have to be at least 2 meter, have at least a 2 meter distance from the enclosure walls, because this is the distance that Wolverines can jump, or this is the max distance that Wolverines can jump. So you have to have at least 2 meters in either direction from the enclosure walls, so that the Wolverine, of course, can't jump over. So that's why I'm measuring basically where my trees will be placed in this enclosure, so that I make sure that it is 2 meter wide, or 2 meter far from every wall and from every viewing area, basically. But yeah, as I said, my throat is getting a little bit dry, talking for around 22 minutes already. So I will leave you now with the rest of this speed build. And yeah, you can see me now placing trees, and in a moment I will now measure the distance of the tree with these 2 meter plastered pieces from the enclosure walls. But yeah, as I said, I will now leave you with the rest of the speed build and some nice music by the creators of Planet Zoo, and you will see all the foliage work now transforming this habitat in a very wonderful, lush and forestry, bit of a forest, so to say. And then I see you at the end of this video in our showcase, where I show you the fully, not completely fully, but almost fully decorated and finished exhibit of the Wolverine. So stay tuned for that, and I hope you enjoyed the video so far. And now I hope you enjoy the music. Okay, and here we are now in the real-time part, and also we are a day later since my voiceover, so when I'm sounding a little bit different, that is why. But yeah, we are standing in front of our wild boar habitat, obviously, because it is connected to the wolverine habitat. And if we turn to our right, we now have these two new viewing areas that we built in the speed build, and yeah, I really like how it basically fills in this gap or the space here, especially this little log hut over here. It kind of feels natural to have one here, so I'm really happy how it turned out. But yeah, let's go inside, and yeah, I added, as I said, added some decorations like this amazing bison skull made by Carlos, which is also on the workshop. But yeah, it is still a little bit empty, as you can see. I just threw in some stuff that I had lying around, but definitely looking forward to some more designs, to some more ideas to throw in here. If you have some ideas, let me know in the comments what I could add to this locker to make it a little bit more interesting, basically. But yeah, here we have our Wolverine, like on command. But yeah, we start over here first with our little window into the boar habitat. There we get another cool look at them. If they come close up to here, you can get a very close look. But of course, we also have these two big windows over here with our Wolverine over here. It's this sleeping place that I made for them, so they come right up to the window and sleep here. And then we have this big panorama view over here, where they also have some food items, so they come up here and you get a nice quick look, or a nice good look at the whole enclosure, at the whole length of the enclosures. I think it's really nice. But yeah, let's move on to not make this video any more longer. We have some not viewing areas, but some open parts of the fence over here, which I added some shrubbery and some trees over here to make it a little bit obscure, so they have some privacy. Maybe I will add some more plants to to obscure it even more. But because these two are the main viewing areas, and we need some places where the animals are a little bit more hidden, basically. But yeah, this is this other main viewing area with this grand panorama viewing glass area over here, where you can get a really close-up look at the Wolverine when they're walking around. I don't know where the other one is. Oh, there's the other one. Just on time. But yeah, really like how they turned out with the little inlet over here, so you can get maybe even closer into the exhibit, basically, which I really like. Really nice. And yeah, I like how it turned out and what it become. I say how it turned out a lot. Don't mind me. But yeah, move on. Another, basically non-viewing section over here. And then we have this little playground, which we actually built in last week's live stream. So that was done in that live stream. What is it called? The slide, of course, is made by just Goran. The rest is made by me. So if you want to see me building some more stuff that is not on the videos, I highly recommend tuning into my live streams every Friday at 9 p.m. Central European time on Twitch. The link is down in the description. But we are here, of course, for the backstage area, and that is this the backstage outside exhibit over here, where we can have a Wolverine if they're not breeding, or if we have to separate them. We can give let them into here, where they still have some outside air and some space, but are still confined. And as I said, there's a backstage, also nothing too special. There's even something floating over here, which we should delete. I don't know, maybe I forgot it. So that's better. Nothing special over here. 2 cages to separate them, and another cage to get them over to the outside area. I threw in some decorations, some utility tools and stuff like that, so that it looks a little bit more lived in. But nothing special in that regard. Pretty easy, and of course the aforementioned safety line, so don't step behind this line, or else you could be attacked or bitten by the animal. You should always keep that in mind if you are dealing with carnivorous animals. But that is the Wolverine exhibit, and as I said, I really liked how it turned out. I really liked how basically cramped it got, is I think the right word, because it really looked it is quite huge compared to the size of the animal. But with all the plants, all the trees, and all the foliage and other stuff, it really comes together like a little bit of the forest floor, where we have 2 Wolverines roaming around searching for food. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video as well, this very long video. Hope you don't mind. And then I hope I see you in the next video, next week already. And that until then, you stay safe, you have a great time. And all I have to say now is goodbye, everyone.